Have you ever felt it? That strange, quiet emptiness, even when everything is perfectly fine? You have food in the fridge, endless shows to watch, a whole world just a click away, but something feels off? What if the greatest danger we face isn't some big, scary threat, but the complete and total absence of struggle? What if this digital paradise we've built is actually a cage, a very comfortable cage, and we're the ones holding the key? This very idea, that maybe the struggle is the point, lies at the heart of a deeply haunting scientific experiment. Welcome to Enchanted Life Inside. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a story of how a perfect world, a utopia, became a living hell. Our story begins in a quiet laboratory. Picture it, Rockville, Maryland, 1958. An ethologist, a scientist named John B. Calhoun, is about to conduct an experiment of biblical proportions. His mission? To build a literal paradise on Earth, a world completely free of struggle, designed for a society of rats. He gave it a name that sounds almost like science fiction. He called it Universe 25. And this was the blueprint for that paradise. You're not just looking at a cage, you're looking at a meticulously designed city. Calhoun's team took 4 healthy pairs of rats and introduced them to a world where they would never know hunger or fear or want. For these first 8 residents, it was supposed to be heaven. Now just think about what this truly meant. No cats lurking in the shadows, no traps, no bitter winters to survive. Food and water flowed endlessly from dispensers. The temperature was kept perfect day in and day out. Every single physical need was met before it could even register as a desire. The stage was set for a golden age, a population that could finally thrive without any limits. And you know what? For a little while, it did. Just as Calhoun predicted, the population exploded, the rat society flourished. But then, around day 315, something started to go terribly, terribly wrong. It wasn't a plague, it wasn't a famine, it was something much more sinister, something that was growing from within. The paradise began to rot from the inside out. At first, the signs were so subtle you could almost miss them. The complex social rituals, the little dances that held their society together, they just started to fray. Courtship became clumsy, sometimes violent. Mothers, who should have been fiercely protective, became distracted, forgetful. The delicate art of building a nest, so crucial for raising a family, was lost. It was as if the rats were forgetting the very software that made them, well, rats. A new type of males started to appear. Calhoun gave them a chilling name, the beautiful ones. And they were. Physically perfect, their coats were sleek and unscarred from any conflict. But they were completely disconnected from reality. They had no interest in mating, they wouldn't fight to defend their territory, they wouldn't engage in any social behavior at all. Their entire existence was boiled down to just 3 simple acts: eating, sleeping, and grooming themselves obsessively. They were beautiful, yes, and they were completely empty. The social fabric didn't just fray, it completely disintegrated into madness. Mothers would start carrying their babies to safety, only to forget them mid-journey, dropping them on the floor to die. Some would even attack and cannibalize their own litters. Meanwhile, gangs of hyper-violent males roamed the pens, attacking females and young with no rhyme or reason. Socializing, mating, parenting, all the core behaviors that gave their lives structure and meaning, they just vanished. This is maybe the most horrifying number to come out of the entire study. At the peak of the collapse, the infant mortality rate hit 96%. Let that sink in. These babies weren't dying from predators or starvation. They were dying from pure, simple neglect in a world that had infinite abundance. So, what on earth happened? Why did a perfect paradise turn into a living hellscape? Well, Calhoun had a term for it. He called it the behavioral sink. He realized that when every need is met, when every challenge is removed, the very purpose-driven behaviors that give life meaning, they just evaporate. There was simply nothing left to strive for. And it's so important to understand this. The behavioral sink isn't just about too many rats in a small space. It's the psychological collapse that happens when social roles become meaningless, when life itself loses its purpose. It's a vortex of social decay that sucks everything in when there is no why left to live for. You can even see it in this chart. The basic act of eating became pathological. Instead of just eating where they lived, the rats would all crowd into 1 or 2 pens, turning feeding into this chaotic, meaningless scrum.
It's a perfect visual for how even our most fundamental instincts can become twisted and distorted when purpose is gone.
And that's really the heart of it all, isn't it? The tragedy of Universe 25 wasn't a physical death. It was a spiritual one. They were given everything they could ever possibly want, except for the one thing they truly needed: a reason to want any of it. A meaningful struggle.
Now, it's really easy to just dismiss this as a grim little story about rats and move on. But what if it isn't? What if Universe 25 was less of an experiment and more of a prophecy? Let's turn the mirror on ourselves for a moment. Let's look at our own digital paradise, our own world engineered for maximum comfort. Does any of this start to sound familiar?
The parallels are pretty unsettling. They had unlimited food. We have food delivered to our door in minutes. They had the beautiful ones, lost in self-grooming. We have endless scrolling through perfectly curated feeds, isolating ourselves in our own digital bubbles. Their social rituals broke down. Our real-world connections are so often replaced by shallow online interactions. The result for them was a total collapse. And for us, well, we're seeing record levels of anxiety, depression, and this pervasive sense of meaninglessness, all while living with more material wealth than any generation in history.
And this leads us to a really difficult conclusion. We have built our own comfort cage. Every convenience, every app, every on-demand service that removes one more small struggle from our lives, it's just another golden bar in that cage. It's beautiful, sure, it's comfortable, and it is slowly draining our lives of purpose.
But here's the crucial difference between us and the rats in Universe 25. They had no choice. They had no idea they were in an experiment and there was no way out. We do. We can see the bars of the cage, and we have the power to choose to open the door and step outside. We can choose meaningful struggle. Now, breaking free isn't about throwing away our phone and moving to the woods. It's about being intentional. So, step 1, you have to recognize the cage. See how passive consumption is replacing genuine effort. Step 2, you have to actively choose meaningful discomfort. Step 3, prioritize creating something, anything, over just mindlessly consuming. And finally, step 4, seek out real, deep, sometimes difficult human connection. The journey out of the cage always begins with a single step. It doesn't have to be some huge, grand gesture. Just choose one small, intentional act of discomfort today. Instead of ordering in, cook a real meal from scratch. Instead of scrolling, pick up that dusty guitar or a paintbrush. Instead of just texting, call a friend and ask them how they are really doing. And then be ready to actually listen. These small acts of effort are the things that rebuild meaning, one brick at a time. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. When did you first realize you were living in a comfort trap? What was that moment for you? Share your experience in the comments below, because I think we can all learn from each other how to break free. And please, if you found this meaningful, make sure you're subscribed to Enchanted Life Inside so you don't miss what's next. I look forward to seeing you again soon as we explore more of these ordinary things that happen every day, but are very much worth thinking about. Oh, and one last thing. Remember to check out our podcast playlist. It's perfect for when you're driving or winding down at night or anytime you just need a voice in the background. The link is in the description. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.